When the hunter becomes the hunted, the forest changes its song. This reflects how quickly fortunes can shift in the corridors of power, a reality now vividly illustrated in the dramatic sequence of events engulfing former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai. Over the past week, what started as routine invitations to anti-graft agencies has escalated into a relentless chain of detentions, near arrests, failed bail attempts, public protests met with force, and now a fresh read on his personal residence, drawing Nigeria's attention to the intense scrutiny facing one of its most prominent former leaders. This na confirm street news. Now waiting we hear with the report, but be sure say na confirm. Abeg, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and drop a comment to help us grow and bring you undiluted news. The latest chapter unfolded on Thursday, February 19, 2026, when operatives from the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission conducted a search at El-Rufai's residence on Aso Drive in Abuja. The raid occurred in the afternoon, with officials arriving around 2 p.m. and proceeding to search the entire property as part of their ongoing investigations. El-Rufai's media aide confirmed the development through a social media update, noting that the home had been searched by ICPC personnel. His lawyer described the action as unlawful, characterizing it as a clear violation of legal procedures and his client's fundamental rights. The ICPC itself had earlier confirmed that El-Rufai remained in their custody as of the close of work on Wednesday, February 18, in connection with probes that have not been publicly detailed beyond references to ongoing investigations. This home raid comes amid a whirlwind of custody transfers that began days earlier. The sequence traces back to last Thursday when El-Rufai returned from Cairo, Egypt, landing at Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja. Security operatives attempted to detain him right there on arrival, confiscating his passport in a brief but tense confrontation involving his team and agents. Supporters rallied with chants, and he was ultimately allowed to proceed after the incident, though the near arrest set the tone for what followed. He then appeared on a television program where statements about intercepted communications involving the National Security Advisor later contributed to separate charges. By Monday, El-Rufai honored an invitation from the Economic and Financial Commission to address allegations tied to his governorship, including claims of significant financial irregularities and misappropriation of state funds. He arrived voluntarily, but questioning extended beyond a single day, leading to detention. He spent 2 nights in EFCC custody, sleeping over as investigators continued their work. Bail negotiations surfaced, requiring sureties from high-level federal officials like a permanent secretary. One such official initially agreed to stand as surety and appeared at the premises ready to finalize arrangements. However, threats reportedly surfaced, creating intimidation that prompted the permanent secretary to withdraw entirely, derailing the administrative bail process and prolonging his stay. During this period, supporters mobilized in solidarity, gathering outside relevant facilities in protests that grew heated. Authorities deployed tear gas to disperse the crowds, adding to the visible tension and highlighting the polarized sentiments around the case. On Wednesday evening around 8 p.m., the EFCC finally approved bail after the extended sessions and failed surety efforts. Yet, release was short-lived. As El-Rufai exited the EFCC headquarters, operatives from the Department of State Services, who had reportedly positioned themselves in waiting, moved in immediately and took him into custody on the spot. This swift handover shifted focus to allegations of unlawfully intercepting communications of a top security official tied to his public remarks, potentially breaching cybercrime and national security laws. If the intensity of this multi-agency pursuit and the rapid turns in El-Rufai's situation are drawing you in, pause for a moment, hit that like button if you're tracking these developments closely, share your perspective in the comments on what this means for accountability in public office, and subscribe to stay ahead of every new twist in this ongoing story.
To appreciate the stakes, some context on El-Rufai's profile is crucial. As governor of Kaduna for 8 years, he pursued aggressive reforms in education, urban planning, and security, often polarizing opinions with decisions on issues like school closures and land policies. Critics have long raised concerns over contract awards, financial oversight, and governance style in a state marked by ethnic and religious complexities. Post-tenure, such figures frequently face layered probes from agencies like the EFCC, ICPC, and DSS, each with mandates over corruption, integrity offenses, and security threats. The overlapping timelines here: airport incident, EFCC overnight stays, Surety collapse amid threats, tear-gassed supporters, DSS pickup, and now ICPC custody plus home search create a picture of coordinated or sequential pressure that has rarely been seen at this pace for a former governor. Key actions from the parties involved reveal procedural intricacies and tensions. The ICPC's custody confirmation and subsequent raid emphasized their independent role in probing corrupt practices, with their media head stating El-Rufai was with them over ongoing matters while declining to specify details pending procedure. El-Rufai's side, through his aide and lawyer, has pushed back strongly, framing elements like the raid as procedural overreach. The EFCC's eventual bail grant after nights in detention shows some flexibility, yet the immediate DSS intervention underscores how separate allegations can intersect. The threats leading to the surety's withdrawal introduce concerns about external influences potentially undermining due process. The implications stretch across Nigeria's landscape. Politically, this sustained focus on a former influential figure tests the resilience of anti-corruption institutions and their ability to operate without perceptions of selectivity or vendetta. Socially, it amplifies debates on justice versus harassment, especially when supporters face tear gas and allies withdraw under threat, eroding public confidence in fair play. Security-wise, allegations involving communication interception highlight vulnerabilities in national protocols and privacy. Economically, prolonged probes into past state management in resource-rich Kaduna could affect perceptions of governance stability, influencing investment and fiscal trust. Public reactions have been fervent and split. Online spaces buzz with supporters decrying what they see as orchestrated targeting, pointing to the airport near miss, overnight detentions, protest suppression, and successive handovers as excessive. Critics and those who questioned aspects of his administration argue the multi-agency involvement reflects the weight of accumulated allegations warranting thorough examination. The lawyer's condemnation of the raid as unlawful has fueled calls for transparency, while others await formal charges or resolutions to judge the merits. Looking forward, the trajectory remains fluid. With El-Rufai now in ICPC custody following the home search, further questioning or evidence gathering could lead to charges, bail applications, or extended detention. Potential court interventions might address claims of rights violations or seek clarity on overlapping probes. If items were recovered during the raid, that could accelerate developments, though no such details have emerged. Responses from other agencies or political figures could either de-escalate or intensify scrutiny. The coming days and weeks will likely reveal whether this marks a peak in accountability efforts or sparks broader discussions on post-office protections and institutional independence. As this saga continues to captivate and divide, your engagement keeps these stories alive and analyzed. If this detailed walkthrough of the 5-day-plus roller coaster from near arrest at the airport through custody nights, abandoned surety, tear-gassed supporters, DSS transfer, and ICPC raid has provided valuable insight, give it a like, comment below with your thoughts on the pace of these events or their wider meaning, and subscribe for real-time updates on Nigeria's unfolding political and anti-corruption narratives. Thanks for joining, and we'll keep watching closely.